Hey there, Booth, I do. I think we have about an hour left. Yeah. Okay. 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 Are we able to climb a little bit, George? Or scoot forward a little bit? Just because we can't go forward. Can you go to the left? Because there was one shot that was a little bit better that we had, like when we first arrived and we're doing the kind of the orbit all the way around, where I could see the three corners vans. Because right now those trees are blocking. Hey there, what I do? This is at the facility and the bodies are in those cars. So until we see those take off, we know it hasn't started. No, they're going to be transported in those vans. Yeah. Okay, perfect. This is good, George, because I can see all three vans from this vantage point. You could even, yeah, back a little bit. Perfect. Oh, right here is perfect. Okay. Yeah. Jamie, yeah, we believe that the bodies are in the vans. Because they were on the floor over here, and I'm not seeing them anymore, so. Copy. Yeah, there's the... You'd like the vehicles? Oh, okay. Copy. Copy that. Copy that. I don't tell him to. Go ahead, Bill. George, will you recalculate our fuel situation? 45? Hey, Bill, we have 45 left. 45? And the Dodgers TFR starts at 6:10 today as well, which does play a factor as well, if it hasn't started by then. I see a bunch of deputies coming out right there. So maybe they're starting to get ready. Yeah. I am in the doubler, but give me a slight pedal turn so I can see if it's exhaust or the doubler. I think it's just the heat, to be honest, but. It's more than exhaust. I think it's heat. It's heat, and I'm in the doubler, and we're so far. Oh, here we go. SMS from the chopper. Looks like the bodies were not in the vans yet. They had them elsewhere, and they're going to move them into the vans now. Correct, yeah, they had them under the canopies where we couldn't see them, but they just brought them out, draped with the American flag, and they're going to put them into the vans now. Yeah, it's because we're far away and I'm in the doubler. This is if I get out of it. Would you prefer this? It's clear, but obviously it's a much further shot. The other one? Okay. Booth, I hear you. Go ahead. Okay, copy that. 90 seconds out. Go ahead, studio. Okay, copy. Copy. Copy.
Who died. Eliana Moreno over the scene for us now in News Chopper 4. Eliana.
Carolyn, and just about 30 seconds ago, we saw members of the Sheriff's SCB team move the 3 bodies of the deceased deputies from those black canopies that you see there over to the 3 sheriff's vans that are waiting to get this procession going. The bodies of those 3 deputies were draped with the American flag, and again, they were escorted to the vehicles by their coworkers, members of the Special Enforcement Bureau. You can just make them out there. They're standing on either side of the van. Now, we are much further than we'd normally be for a situation like this. They have asked us to be about 2 miles away from the scene. But when the procession gets going, we're going to be able to follow that. It's going to go northbound on Eastern, make its way to the 10 freeway. They'll go west, and then they'll exit at Soto. It's really not a far distance to get these 3 fallen deputies over to the coroner's office. That's the latest here from East LA in News Chopper 4. I'm Eliana Moreno. Back to you in the studio.
And Eliana, it's Kathy here. As we continue to follow this right now, can we talk a little bit about what you know about the Sheriff's Department? So many sheriff's deputies involved in this incredibly large department. It's truly a brotherhood and a sisterhood. But can you tell me if also families are usually brought to this scene too to make that trip, or is that something that they are not included in?
As you said, Kathy, the LA County Sheriff's Department, what I believe is the largest police department in the nation, clearly is going to have a large show of force here when 3 of their deputies have fallen. The first time that has happened since the 1800s. So clearly we're going to see a large police department presence, not only from the Sheriff's Department, but neighboring agencies as well, who are going to come out here to show their support in uniform. But then you're also going to have members of the public who, of course, have heard about today's tragic news, and they're going to line the route here on surface streets as well as the overpasses on the 10 freeway to show their respects for these 3 fallen deputies. And when it comes to family members of the deceased, they will be invited to partake in the procession if they so choose to. Of course, a situation like this is so emotional for them, so some of them may choose to, some of them may not. But of course, the Sheriff's Department does extend that invitation to them, and they'll have a special vehicle to have them be part of the procession if they so choose to.
And Eliana, what are we seeing right now? It seems there's a lot of movement by people there right in front of the area where those vehicles are.
Yeah, so what they're doing now is now that they have put the bodies in the coroner's vans, the deputies are going to make their way to their patrol units. We also have deputies who are here on motorcycles. They're likely going to be at the front of the procession. You can see a lot of the sheriff's squad cars over here, a lot of them unmarked. Yeah. And I'll push in here. You'll just be able to make out the sheriff's SCB team. You can tell the difference because their uniforms are all green. It's very similar to what you would see a SWAT team member wearing. So you can see them making their way here to the vehicles. When they are ready to start rolling, we will see all of these members of the Sheriff's Department start to make their way down Sheriff's Road. That's going to be over to the west, and then they're going to make their way to Eastern, which is the major thoroughfare that runs here through the area. That is where you will see the fire department. This is going to be the LA County Fire Department. They have set up that very traditional site that we are used to when it comes to processions for fallen firefighters as well as police officers. They have these 2 ladder trucks here with an American flag blowing in the wind. The procession will make its way under that and then proceed northbound on Eastern over to the 10 freeway. It's really not a long stretch, but if you do live in this area or work through in this area here in East Los Angeles, you're going to want to avoid Eastern. Essentially from the 60 freeway over to the 10 freeway, that's really the best way to describe it, to try to get around this closure. Your best alternate through the area is going to be the 710 freeway.
And I know you're going to be following it in just a moment. Condolences have been pouring in really from across the country now. This has made national news. It is such a huge loss for this department. And Ileana, we talked about how large the Sheriff's Department is, but the SCB, the Special Enforcement Bureau, that is a group of specially trained officers, the ones you see on barricade situations, the dive team, the arson investigators, which is what this group, I understand, was part of, and the chopper rescuers. So they have special training, and it really is an honor to be in this department on those forces. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Special Enforcement Bureau, commonly called the SCB team, is very equivalent to a SWAT team, and that is reserved for the best of the best. So it's difficult enough just to get accepted into the Sheriff's Academy and then to become a Deputy 1, a Deputy 2, and then work the jails and then work patrol. But on top of that, to get one of these prestigious positions in the SCB team, that is not easy to do. And as we have heard, the 3 members who died today were veterans, in total 74 years of service, one of them 33 years, likely about to retire, and tragically died in the incident early this morning here at the Sheriff's Training Academy. And again, it was not part of a training incident. It actually just happened to be at the Biscaloo Center, which had been closed for many years. It recently reopened, and unfortunately that was the site of today's tragedy.
Eliana, you spoke about these deputies being veterans of the department, and they touched so many lives of the other deputies within the department. We've heard that throughout the day today. They were really well-known, well-respected men. And as we look now, we have a ground shot showing deputies who are lined up awaiting this procession as well. This is really emotional for the department.
It's extremely emotional, not only for them, but also members of the community who know that these deputies, these great men and women go in and day out to protect their lives, the lives of people they don't even know, but that they signed up to serve. So you'll see a presence here from the community that is going to take to the streets, likely take to some of the overpasses here on the 10 freeway. There's not a lot of overpasses between the sheriff's headquarters and the coroner's office, but you will likely see that on some of the overpasses. You're probably going to see some members of the fire department there as well, but you will definitely see the love, feel the love that is felt towards these 3 men who tragically lost their lives here this morning.
Yeah, such a gut punch for anyone in law enforcement today for this to happen, because as you said, they put their lives at risk every single day, every time they go out there, especially the people who are involved in these extra difficult, extra dangerous missions out there. And here to have this happen this morning, it's just such a shock. And I know the investigation will be unfolding. It's going to take some time right now. But can you talk to us more about what they're feeling right now? It's like losing a brother, losing a sister, losing someone you're very close to. As Carolyn was saying, one of the law enforcement officials talked about, we do barbecues together. We know them. It's not just work, we're family.
Absolutely. The Sheriff's Department is, of course, what I believe is the largest in the nation. And so you would think that they wouldn't really have these close-knit relationships when you're in such a big group. But in reality, because they were part of that Sheriff's SCB team, that is, again, a very elite group. So they were very tight-knit amongst themselves. And even if you weren't part of the SCB team, there's a good chance that if you serve in the Sheriff's Department, you likely worked with one of these deputies in another capacity. Perhaps you worked with them in the jail. Perhaps you went to the academy with them. Perhaps you were a sheriff's security officer with them before becoming a deputy. There's so many roles within the department where you likely have crossed paths with some of the individuals who tragically died today, or a coworker who's really good friends with them. So in one way or another, everyone in the department will be touched by today's loss. And normally it's the loss of just one deputy. That's tragic enough. To lose 3 deputies in one day, in one tragic morning, is absolutely unheard of for the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, we still haven't heard the names of the deputies involved. Sheriff Luna explained earlier that around noontime he'd been in touch with 2 of the 3 families. He wanted to speak with all of the families individually and certainly didn't want to put any names out there until he'd had that opportunity to do so. But of course, we'll be learning much more about these 3 men in the days to come.
He also talked about, how hard this is for the department. He was breaking up, just trying to have that news conference and to take our questions early on. But he was also describing how that really hits that department, because you have 3 officers who did the same thing and worked in the arson unit. So that's really hard just for that department. They were so well trained.
Right, and to replace them, it's really difficult to wrap your brain around how that process will work. Eliana, there's a whole line of vehicles that you had pointed out to us before. Will those vehicles all be participating in this procession as well? How will this work?
Yeah, all of the vehicles that you see here have deputies inside, behind the wheel, at the ready to get going. In front of them, it's difficult to see. There's kind of a building in the way, but there are some motor officers as well, and they're usually at the front of the pack. But we do have a slight delay. In part, it could be because there will be some rolling closures that will be part of this, just to try to get the procession onto the freeway in a very quick manner. That's the 10 freeway there. So the street that they're first going to take is Eastern, and then they're going to jump on the 10 freeway. Now, it's a Friday evening commute. That's always the busiest drive. So it does take a lot of coordination, especially with the California Highway Patrol, which of course is in charge of patrolling the freeways. So they have to get out on the freeway and start to close some of the on-ramps to prevent vehicles from getting on the 10 freeway. Again, it's going to be the 10 westbound. So they're going to have to try to block some of those on-ramps to hold traffic back, to allow the procession to just freely move onto the freeway, to make this as quick as possible. Of course, they don't want to hold up traffic too much, but of course they also want to give these deputies and their families an opportunity to mourn as they leave the sheriff's headquarters and make their way over to the coroner's office.
Yeah, this is really an honor. You can see the flags, you see the fire department. They want to mourn, but they also want to honor the officers here. And Ileana, how long do we expect this to take? What is the distance to the medical examiners?
It's not far at all, Kathy. It's a really short procession once they start going, because they're practically already on Eastern. That's where we see the fire truck. So they're on Eastern, and the on-ramp is at Ramona. So it's a very close little hop over to the 10 freeway. That's the 10 freeway there, but they'll get on even closer to that. There's some trees in the way, so I can't actually show you the on-ramp. But once they're on the 10 freeway, they're just going to follow that over to Soto, which is only a few exits away, and then they'll get to the coroner's office. I may be able to even show you that real quick, but it's going to be the sheriff's coroner's office, which is next to County USC. There's County USC, and the coroner's office is right there in the corner. So it's really not a very far drive. In fact, I can actually see some of the units that are already waiting there. Sure enough, you can kind of see some of the patrol units that are already waiting there on streets like Marengo, right in front of the county hospital. Again, that's LA County USC, where you see all of those patrol units as well as fire trucks kind of waiting by. And then the coroner's office is just a little bit beyond that, just to the west. So again, it's going to be a very short drive once they get going, once this procession kicks off here from the sheriff's headquarters.
But as you mentioned, they also need to do some preparations to close some lanes of the freeway to make this easily accessible for this procession?
Correct, yeah. So Eastern has already been closed all day, so that's not really the difficult part. Again, if you live or work in the area, Eastern, I'd avoid it between the 10 freeway and the 60 because of that closure. So Eastern's already been closed all day, so that's not really the difficult part. The difficult part is the 10 freeway. So they need to get the CHP out there to block some of those on-ramps to hold back just the regular flow of traffic to allow the procession to go through. And if they do that, they'll be able to go through rather quickly, and they'll be at the coroner's office in just a few minutes.
Yeah, one thing we're seeing from your shot on News Chopper 4 is something we've been talking about throughout the day, and that's how this training facility, which opened up again, as you mentioned, it was shut down, but it's open again now. And it's right there in the middle of a neighborhood. So people who are in that area actually heard the blast this morning, and we talked to some of them. They said, you know, it sounded different. We could just tell in that moment that this wasn't right. Obviously, they are hearing training exercises going off here and there. They're so close there. There are houses right there on that street. But they knew this didn't sound quite right. And so it just gives us the perspective of how many homes are in the area.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you mentioned,
go ahead,
Eliana, so many people in that neighborhood impacted by this as well, from an emotional standpoint of, you know, these are men and women who serve the community and who are there in their neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. The sheriff's department is up on a little hill here in Monterey Park, just off of the 10 freeway and the 710. But as you said, look at all of the homes that are serviced here by the sheriff's department. So obviously this is a situation that affects the sheriff's department, but think of all the people who are affected by this as well, knowing that there were 3 men who died this morning serving their community. So we will likely see a response here from members of the community as they line the streets and the freeway overpass to give their respects.
Absolutely. And we know we're mentioning the Sheriff's Department and the other forces that are here, the police, the fire department, they all come together, and you feel for them because it's a loss. They all feel it collectively, but you have to think about the family members of these deputies who did not expect this today, who got the news, who wanted to start just a normal day and expected their loved ones to come home or just, have your normal day, and they're not. And many of them have families, they have children, and just their stories. We feel for them. We thank them for their service. It's a very hard day for everyone here as we continue to watch this and wait for this procession to begin. So they will go from that training facility where this happened, this accident, at 7:30 this morning, at the short distance, as Ileana was explaining, to the medical examiner's office. And already there are officers there with their lights on, waiting to take them in at that point.
Yeah, this is obviously taken all day to kind of initially process this scene. The medical examiner also responded to this location, and then the bodies will be escorted to the coroner's office. Eliana, are you seeing some movement there?
We're starting to see some movement here from the coroner's vans. It's 3 of them. I can't think of a time when I've covered a story with 3 coroner's vans. It's usually just 1 or 2 at most. And in this case, we have 3 that were just lined up side by side, and each one is carrying the body of a fallen deputy, their body draped with an American flag, now making its way off of the property and onto Sheriff's Road. And it's going to be a right-hand turn for them whenever they're ready. I don't know that they'll be at the very front of the procession. Usually that is reserved for the motor officers, which I think is what we're starting to see. So we'll see the motor officers start to make the first push here to the west, down Sheriff's Road. That's going to be down toward Eastern. So the motor officers will be at the front of the pack. We will likely then see the 3 vans from the coroner's office, followed by the dozens of patrol units from the Sheriff's Department that are going to be at the tail of the procession.
And we talk about how this took all day. There's so much involved in this besides the investigation. They want to handle everything with such care. They want to make sure everyone is notified, and they want to give everyone a chance to be able to get in line, to get there, to be in order, and to make this just roll out and be the best possible procession they can have, because there's just so much meaning connected to it.
And they certainly wanted to give other law enforcement from around the region a chance to be here as well.
Yeah, they, of course, extend the invitation to other law enforcement agencies if they want to be a part of it. A lot of them may even come on their day off in their just regular civilian clothes, because they also want to pay their respects. And, of course, we also have members of the public who will want to do that. And one of the things that the Sheriff's Department also does, they have the unique ability, because they do have planes as well. A lot of people don't know that. In addition to the helicopters that the Sheriff's Department has, they also have a plane. They have a King Air, and they can use that plane if a family member of the fallen lives somewhere else, in another state, for example, or even just a little bit too far for them to drive from wherever they live up to LA County. They will send that plane to their nearest airport and pick up the family member and bring them here to Los Angeles to allow them to be part of the procession, and of course everything that comes with losing a loved one in this type of situation.
Yeah, they try to make it as easy as possible. A loved one could simply be out of town and not there right now, but would want to be there for something like this. And we're seeing them make that turn that you mentioned, and it's quite a sight as they go by the American flag.
It's you never really get used to seeing that. It's always just so emotional to see something like this, as you know that these are 3 men who showed up to work this morning simply to do a job, and now unfortunately their final drive here is going to be from work over to the coroner's office just a few miles away, and they're escorted by their fellow coworkers as they leave Sheriff's headquarters and start to make their way to Boyle Heights.
And we're beginning to see the rest of the procession follow those 3 vans from the coroner's office, and what looked to be a number of personal vehicles leaving as well, Kathy.
Personal vehicles there in between and some unmarked vehicles. Now we will see that as they go between the two fire trucks that have been positioned there with the flag. And Ileana, are you hearing from any law enforcement members that you know talking to you today? I know I have talked to a few, and they just said this is a heavy day. This is a very tragic day for us. There are not many other words that we can put to this right now. It's hard to explain what we're feeling.
Yeah, it's absolutely tragic. You do feel like it's losing a family member, so it's very emotional, not only for members of the LA County Sheriff's Department who may or may not have known these deputies, considering how large the department is. There's all of the neighboring agencies and even nations throughout the country who understand how big of a loss this is for the department to lose 3 deputies in one day in one fell swoop. And these are 3 deputies with decades of experience, 74 years total. One of the deputies with 33 years on the force, likely starting to think about retirement. And unfortunately, with the tragic events of today, we lost 3 veteran deputies here of the department who are never really going to be able to be replaced, especially not when you think about that they were more than just deputies. They were somebody's husband, they were somebody's father, they were somebody's brother, they were somebody's son. And unfortunately, again, 3 men of the Sheriff's Department lost their lives today, yet to be identified by name, but we know veterans of the department.
And Eliana, where we're still seeing a number of vehicles exiting the facility, but I was just going to ask you if they are now reaching the freeway. The motor officers first, it appeared to be a couple dozen of them leading the way, followed by those 3 coroner vans carrying the bodies of the fallen deputies.
Yeah, I'm kind of hopping and skipping over to the 10 freeway. Just there's a lot of homes in the way, so it's a little bit difficult to see the entire procession as it weaves its way here on Eastern, but you can just see them. They're making that turn. It's going to be an eastbound turn onto Ramona, which is where they'll be able to pick up the 10 freeway. So we'll be able to see that from this vantage point. And again, pardon the distance of the shot. We were asked to stay a few miles away. They have a temporary flight restriction in place for us. So that's what we're kind of shooting this from a distance. But you'll see that they'll make this turn onto the Ramona on-ramp for the westbound 10 freeway. And again, the CHP is going to be holding back the traffic. So you're going to see a very heavy line of traffic here on the westbound 10. And you'll start to see some on-ramps coming into the picture as well. And that's where you'll start to see members of the community and likely the fire department as well. That's going to be on some of these on-ramps waiting to pay their respects to these fallen deputies.
We're seeing 2 people there right now. It's quite a view because I think anybody would notice this. You're seeing 1 motorcycle officer followed by the rest of them, and it's just quite a sight. You know that something very serious is happening here, and so I'm sure a lot of people will want to slow down and take a look at that. It's quite a sight.
It is, and you can see the freeway shut down on that side to allow for this procession to progress. Want to point out something that NBC4 has just learned, which is LA County deputies are now conducting a search warrant in Santa Monica, and we're told this is connected to the investigation into the explosion that killed the deputies this morning.
George, I'm going to follow
the search
them
is
on the
happening in the area of Bay and Lincoln right now, and we know ATF has taken over the investigation into the explosion. Investigators tell us they are trying to determine if there might be any other explosives at this location, and because of that, people in the surrounding area have been evacuated. We do have a reporter headed to that scene, and she will be bringing us a live report coming up on the NBC4 News at 6. We're going to stay on top of this one as well. Yeah,
there's still so much to learn with the investigation as it unfolds. And of course, the families will want to know and they'll want answers as well. So it's very important that they take their time and that this unfolds in a correct way as we continue to watch the procession right now. Eliana, where do we stand right now with the motorcycle officers and the rest of the procession as we continue to watch as they make their way to the medical examiner's office, which is not far away, but it takes some time given that we've got the traffic.
As we work to get Eliana, oh, here Eliana's back. Eliana, I see you now are showing a number of people here lining the overpass and paying their respects.
Yeah, you can see them there on one of the freeway overpasses. We have a mix of civilians, and we also have, I believe, some members of the Sheriff's Department that are up there as well. And I'm going to ask my pilot, George. George, if you can just hold here if it's possible, so we can get the procession coming our way. George did me the favor of heading over a little bit closer to Boyle Heights so we can be at the ready for when the vehicles arrive at the coroner's office. But the procession isn't moving incredibly fast. So at this point, in the middle lanes here of the westbound 10 freeway, continuing to head west. And again, it wasn't a very far drive from Monterey Park over to Boyle Heights, but you can see the incredible presence here from the Sheriff's Department, motor units, and then we've got the fallen deputies, followed by all of these patrol units. There's so many, they're still trying to get on the freeway. I think that might be the last marked one, but we've still got some unmarked units that are still working to make their way onto the westbound 10 freeway. Again, from Monterey Park to Boyle Heights, the westbound 10 will be held back here traffic-wise as the procession makes its way through, but it should move in, or should move through rather quickly.
And Ileana was talking about how large this department is, the Sheriff's Department, but there are other agencies involved too. There might be family members. We've seen some unmarked cars. We've seen some regular cars involved there too, and they're up more toward the front. So the likelihood is that it is family members that are taking part in this as well.
Just a remarkable sight, Kathy, to see them heading down the center lanes of that side of the freeway. And it's still going. The length of this procession is really remarkable.
It is, to see this on what would otherwise be a normal day with people, leaving work, just traveling on the freeways. They would normally be packed, and now we're seeing this. You can't help but notice it. It is quite a display with the motorcycle officers there. Ileana, how close are we now?
So we're getting very close here. We're about 4 miles away now from Monterey Park, and the procession is coming up to, they're about at City Terrace, and you can see all of the folks here up on the pedestrian bridge. Those are civilians who, of course, have heard about today's tragedy, and they wanted to be a part of it in their own special way here, just by at least paying their respects to the fallen sheriff's deputies. But again, the procession continues to make its way westbound, and they're going to pass a couple of exits like City Terrace and State, and but Soto is where they're going to be getting off. They're going to get off at Soto, and then they're going to go westbound on Marengo. That's going to put them right by LA County Hospital, LA County General, for those of you who are familiar with the area. And then just a little bit west of that is where we have the coroner's office. So they really won't be on the road too much. In fact, it looks like they're already setting up to exit the 10 freeway here at Soto.
It's interesting to note the cars on the opposite side of the freeway are also, I mean, I know the traffic is heavy, but it certainly appears that a number of them are also stopping and to pay their respects, or to take note of what is going on in this somber procession.
I don't see how you couldn't notice this and realize what it is. Ileana, can you give us an idea, once they get there, what we should expect to see as they all come together? What will we be looking for?
So what typically happens once they reach the coroner's office is everyone, of course, will park. They will get off of their bikes or out of their vehicles, and then they are going to usually just form 2 lines on either side of the entrance, and then whoever has been selected to carry the bodies will carry them into the coroner's office. That part tends to be relatively quick, all things considered. Once the 3 bodies are inside of the coroner's office, then you will see everyone return to their vehicles and clear out. So once they get to the coroner's office, it does go relatively quick, but just because it goes quick doesn't mean it's not emotional. It will be very emotional for the folks participating in the procession. And we will also see more members of the community who will be waiting there outside of the coroner's office to pay their respects.
And I think other times we have seen some of the officers stand around and, and console each other and talk, all these things that are helpful when you're trying to deal with something like this that was unexpected.
Absolutely, and you bring up such a great point, Kathy. The deputies who are affected by this are not alone. They thankfully do have resources within the department that they can turn to if they need just a little bit more help. It's not easy to lose one coworker. To lose three all at the same time can be a very emotional thing for these deputies or just employees of the Sheriff's Department to deal with. So if you are in that situation, if you work for the Sheriff's Department, know that there is help. They provide these services. It's part of what you pay in your dues. So you can turn to those resources for help if you just need a little bit more emotional and mental strength during this time.
We should note NBC4's Ted Chen is on the ground at the coroner's office as well. So we do have, that perspective for you as well once we get into place. And this procession is...
The booth had asked me to throw it.
All right, we're continuing to watch right now. Ileana has been describing right now the motorcycle officers, CHP, blocking streets as they continue this procession that started at the training facility in East LA. That's where this terrible accident with the ordinance happened this morning. We're still getting full details. That the investigation will know everything once that gets underway or have more details. But it all happened at 7:30 this morning at that training facility where the Special Enforcement Bureau trains. They have many operations that take place there, from the helicopter pilots to diving to arson investigators, and they train and they operate out of that area.
We should note this wasn't a training exercise, though, that was taking place here. This was where their offices were, these members of the Essential Bomb Squad, and where they were working to render neutral these ordinances. We're still learning more about that, where they were collected. We know that they had collected some things from Lakewood, and we're now hearing today that the Sheriff's Department is out in Santa Monica, where they've issued a search warrant for a property. Still trying to tie all of this together. And as Sheriff Luna explained, this investigation will last for weeks, potentially even months, as they sort through all that happened here. Eliana, where are we now? It looks like you're near County USC.
That's exactly where we're at, Carolyn, just outside of County General here, County USC Medical Hospital, making our way down Marengo. You can see the three the coroner's vans there that are carrying the bodies of the deceased. From here, though, we're really not far from the coroner's office. We're just a little bit to the east of it at this time. So we'll be there in a matter of minutes. But you can see that on Marengo here, we have a very large police presence, not only from the Sheriff's Department, but also nearby agencies. I'm seeing squad cars from other agencies. And of course, we're also seeing the LA County Fire Department that is out here. You see them here. They're fire trucks here. And look at all of these patrol units on the north side of Marengo. This, again, a very emotional moment for members of the department and other departments who, of course, are here to show their respects for the tragic loss of 3 members of the Sheriff's Department early this morning.
And one of the most emotional things that we will see is this. As they make their way where the fire trucks have their ladders extended, the American flag there. This is now the entrance to the medical examiner's office, or we're getting very close. So essentially the end of the procession now, as we have the American flag at the beginning at the training facility, and now toward the end as they head to the medical examiners.
And we can see the deputies lined here along the curb as the motorcade makes its way past them. And you can see they are standing there paying their respects as the 3 vehicles from the coroner's office bring the bodies of the fallen deputies here to the medical examiner's office.
And this is the last turn here that they'll make to get onto the property for the coroner's office. And you'll see the the vans know exactly where to go because, of course, they're being driven by employees of the coroner's department. So they are the ones that are going to be positioning the vans exactly where they need to go. And again, it's not very typical for them to have 3 vans arriving at the same time. That is extremely rare here. Usually, again, one van, 2 at most, but for 3 vans to be arriving here to the coroner's office is very out of the ordinary. So they're going to kind of try to figure out where's the best place to park these vans to make it ideal for the members of the SCB team to take the bodies out of the vans and bring them into the building.
And of course, it's all well orchestrated because they want to do this with so much dignity. They don't want anything to go wrong. As Ileana, as you said, it happens quickly. They know what they need to do, and they want to make it as easy for everyone as you possibly can in this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that once we got going here with the procession, they got here in no time. The CHP doing a great job holding back traffic on the 10 freeway. We, of course, also had a lot of road closures, and a lot of those closures actually happened in LAPD's jurisdiction, which is actually where we're at. So, of course, they played a role in assisting with the traffic control here through the area. I'm going to ask my pilot, George, if we could scoot forward just a little bit, see if we can maybe dodge the Keck building here so we can get a better shot of the vans here as we come around. But again, the vans carrying the bodies of the deceased are now on the coroner's property, but the procession still continues. Some of them still getting off of that 10 freeway. It was such a long show of love here from the department that there's still vehicles that were partaking in the procession still getting off the freeway.
Yeah, so many vehicles involved there. And also I noticed as we were on the, following you and the procession, I saw people who were just stopping and were watching and obviously paying their respects too, knowing what they're seeing. I think most people by now have heard what happened today that started at 7:30 in the morning. It is a huge story for us, a sad story. And so we've been covering it throughout the day. So the likelihood is most people have heard it somewhere today.
Yeah, at this point. And again, we do have Ted Chen on the ground outside the coroner's office.
Yeah,
he was in place, knowing that this is where the procession would end. And so we'll be able to check in, we hope, with him in a short while.
And we're seeing now exactly what Ileana was describing. All of the officers gathering now. They've gotten out of their vehicles and they are starting now to make their way there to the front.
Yeah, and certainly as Ileana and her pilot work to kind of move around a bit, we now have sight of those vans once again, Ileana.
Yeah, here's 2 of them at least. Again, there's 3, which is not very typical when it comes to these types of situations. But you can see the sheriff's deputies, they're giving their final salute to their fallen brothers as the vans get into place. And again, when the bodies were placed in the coroner's vans back in Monterey Park, they were placed in there by members of the SCB team, the Special Enforcement Bureau. So I would assume that they would also be the ones to remove them from the vans, but it could also be a situation where they allow the employees of the coroner's department to do that. So we'll see what happens here in the next few minutes. But I do see the 3rd van there just beyond the tree. So the 3 vans are right there under the trees. And again, all of the vehicles here that were participating in the procession are arriving on scene. Again, this is Marengo Street, and the procession still continues. So they're not going to remove the bodies from the car until everybody gets a chance to park and get out of their vehicles. So the procession will continue to make its way here off of the Soto Street exit from the 10 freeway down Marengo in front of County General, and eventually everyone's going to end up right here in front of the coroner's office.
And you were talking about the SEB being a smaller part, an elite part of the Sheriff's Department, a specially trained unit. Do you believe that they will, if they are not involved with removing the bodies, that they'll still be there as they are taken away, that they would allow them to be in that position?
Correct, Kathy. In fact, I believe I see some of them now. Look right next to the red fence there. Those do look like the uniforms that I saw them wearing earlier. So I believe that is them there, closer to the red fence. And then the regular patrol unit, or the regular patrol officers. They're usually in the green pants and tan top, and they're the ones that are right in the center of the screen. So we do have a mix here of regular deputies as well as the more elite group of the Sheriff's SCB team, which again is equivalent to an LAPD SWAT team. That was the group that these 3 deputies were a part of the arson explosives unit, and unfortunately, of course, they had that tragic incident early this morning that took their lives.
Okay, Eliana, we want to hold with you for a moment. We want to check in with NBC4's Ted Chen, who is on the ground for us at the coroner's office. Ted, are you with us?
Yeah, Carol and Kathy, we can give you a ground view of what Eliana has been talking about for the last few minutes, and that is those 3 coroner vans arriving on the property of the LA County Medical Examiner. If you look straight ahead, my photographer Tommy Bravo can give you a close-up shot as much as we can of the people, the sheriff's deputies, the people surrounding that van, and everyone here paying tribute and honoring these fallen deputies as they make their way to this temporary resting place at the coroner's office after a long and somber procession from Monterey Park. I want to set the scene here and what's been happening in the last few minutes as people, as the law enforcement community has been awaiting this arrival. You can see all the vehicles there that have been part of this procession too. And if we walk up Marengo Avenue, you can see several LA County fire engines approaching that are part of this procession as well. And all of this has been just a very powerful symbol of the grief and the mourning of the law enforcement and the first responder community. And from the ground, we can show you what you saw from the air from News Chopper 4, and that is the giant American flag hovering over Marengo Avenue, supported by the ladders of 2 fire engines and surrounded by LA County Sheriff's deputies, law enforcement personnel, and LA County firefighters and fire officials as well. And about 15 minutes ago, and as the procession was on the freeway, there was this powerful moment where all of the LA County Sheriff's deputies, dozens of them aligning Marengo Avenue, raised up their hands, raised up their right hands together in salute in preparation for the procession, in preparation for their brothers in law enforcement coming down Marengo Avenue toward the LA County Examiner's office. And the unity and the bond reflected in this gesture of the law enforcement and the first responder community. Just talking to one deputy earlier, you got a sense of why this bond is so powerful, and why, however many people are part of this law enforcement first responder community, they all feel it when something like this happens. One of our sergeants that we spoke to said that he saw people today that he hasn't seen in years, that people from all over Southern California, from far and wide, arrived here to mourn and to share their grief with fellow deputies. So you see the last units of the law enforcement community coming to the LA County Examiner's office. They will continue to mourn through the evening in the coming days and weeks. Reporting live from Boyle Heights, Ted Chen, NBC4 News. Kathy, Carolyn, back to you.
Ted, thank you. Such a powerful image there with that American flag flying between the 2 fire truck ladders. We want to share some breaking news with you that NBC4 has learned that LA County deputies are conducting a search warrant right now in Santa Monica, and we're told this is connected to the investigation into the explosion that happened right here that killed the 3 deputies at the training facility in East LA this morning. Now, the search is happening in the area of Bay and Lincoln. This is a live look now from Santa Monica. We now know that ATF has taken over the investigation into the explosion, and investigators tell us they're trying to determine if there might be other explosives at this location. So because of that, people in the surrounding area have been evacuated. NBC4's Macy Jenkins is on scene right now gathering more information, and she'll have a live report for us shortly.
And of course, we'll continue to follow the story. We'll bring you any new developments as they come into our newsroom. But right now, we want to take you outside. We are looking live right now. We have had some storms in our area. Here's Melissa McGee.
Yeah, Kathy and Carolyn, we've been tracking a lot of that moisture that has been out across areas in San Bernardino and Riverside counties in eastern LA County. I want to show you the picture outside as we're looking live from our Mount Wilson camera. You can see the clouds and that rain shield coming down over the mountains. I want to talk about Big Bear for the mountains and the likelihood of rain as we go throughout the rest of the evening. 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, we've got a 20% chance of some showers. And then after that, a lot of that moisture will start to diminish. So the weather headline showing you for the start of our weekend, it's mainly dry on Saturday. Can't rule out an isolated shower for the mountains. Overall, the weekend is nice. We've got temperatures in the 80s and 90s away from the coast. I want to show you the First Alert Radar Network because we've been tracking this moisture from Lake Los Angeles all the way down across areas in the San Gabriel Valley here. This moisture is starting to diminish as it moves down to the south, and it's starting to weaken as well. Just to the east of San Antonio, now that moisture right along the 10 if you're in San Dimas, West Covina, just to the west of Diamond Bar, La Puente, dealing with those showers as we speak. And the moisture continues to sag to the south. But here's the good news for the rest of the evening. As we lose the heating of the day, the intensity of these showers and storms will start to diminish as well. You can see that moisture moving away from Brea at this hour. Your forecast showing you for the basin 82 degrees tomorrow. We've got 79 for the basin as we head into our Sunday. Lower 70s for the coast tomorrow and Sunday, even as we get into early next week. For the valleys tomorrow, and at 88, a little hotter for the IE, but still close to average. 92 tomorrow. Areas of clouds and fog, and then some sunshine for your Sunday afternoon for the Inland Empire. Temperatures in the upper 80s Sunday and into next week. For the high desert, we've got 100 degrees, 104 for the low desert tomorrow, and then well above 100 for the majority of next week. A stray chance of a shower for the mountains tomorrow. Otherwise, we've got a lot of sunshine on the way. 74 for you on your Sunday, and temperatures next week holding in the 70s as well. That is a look at your First Alert forecast.
New at 6, Beyonce fans stampede. New video of chaos after a concert. What caused panic and injuries? Plus the feds making a statement with an undocumented immigrant in Orange County.
The man convicted of killing 2 teenagers in a